We've actually gathered a load of questions from some of our Rock Sound magazine cover stars. Now, some of these are artists that have been really influenced by you. Some have done covers of your stuff before. A few old friends of yours in there as well. Mr. Brian Fallon from the Gaslight Anthem, who we all love.
My brother.
Justin Hawkins from the band The Darkness.
Oh,
amazing
right
band. Love that band. Next up from Lzzy Hale from the band Halestorm. She's the best.
She should
great.
please join Skid Row. Please, Lzzy Hale, join Skid Row.
Hey guys, James Wilson-Taylor here for Rock Sound. We're in central London today. Bon Jovi, very exciting time. New album, documentary out there. I'm delighted to say that Jon joins us now. How are you, Jon?
Very well, sir.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Welcome back to the UK. Let's start right there.
Thank you.
And as I mentioned, loads and loads of exciting stuff going on for you, but it's not just me that wants to ask. We've actually gathered a load of questions from some of our Rock Sound magazine cover stars. Now, some of these are artists that have been really influenced by you. Some have done covers of your stuff before. A few old friends of yours in there as well, which is a really nice mix.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think it should be good. All right, we're going to kick off
You're
with...
hiding your cards.
Oh, yeah. I want you to be surprised by who we've managed to get here a little bit.
Right.
First up, a man who I know supported you until many years ago, Frank from My Chemical Romance, a fellow New Jersey native as well. First of all, he said he wants to let you know that he has kept the leather jacket you gave him, so
Very
that's
good.
a good start. This is a great question. He says,
ask him if he remembers being a young teenage kid going to record plant studios in the city and meeting my dad, Cheech.
No way.
Yeah.
What was it like? Obviously, I know your dad was a musician, but like, was it they just work in a studio at the same time?
He used to do studio sessions there, but he would set up like recording times, like they're in the studio at this time, and then like make sure that things were ready. Like he was like I guess coordinating like all like the set times.
I worked at the power station, but I would go to the record plant, and you'd go to Hit Factory, and you'd go eventually to Sony. There was a bunch of studios in the city, but I never had the opportunity to record there in my early days.
Interesting.
We worked at a place called RPM downtown, the first demos I made in New York. But that I never had the chance to record there.
Oh, okay. He said his dad definitely accepted a tape from you at some point as well.
Oh, yeah,
so
that was most likely. I would have walked around with cassettes, handing them out like business cards. Somebody listened to Runaway. Somebody listened to Runaway. Yeah.
It's a smart move. It's a smart way to do it. It's so funny. Every time I kind of speak with artists like Franco, of course, Mike, I'm from New Jersey.
Love him.
I always end up talking about, like, there's just something in the water out there, isn't there? I mean, it's got this long line of anthemic rock bands, really relatable lyrics. What do you think it is about the kind of scene out there or the atmosphere that produces so many great bands over the years?
Growing up in the shadow of New York City, which, on par with London, arguably the greatest city in the world with media and influence, and growing up in those suburbs 25 miles outside of New York City, but by definition we are a different state, right? Okay, so this would be like you guys driving down to, I don't know, out where the O2 is now. I mean, it's nothing, but that's considered another state when you're in New York and New Jersey. But we had the benefit of all the media, which meant that the radio, the influence of radio, the influence of the television, the influence of the newspapers, we weren't out in the sticks anywhere. But by being in those suburbs, we had the benefit of cutting our teeth where no one was looking, which was integral. You didn't have the big bright lights yet. You got your act together, and then you drove through the tunnel or across the bridge.
Yeah, no, that's so interesting. Yeah, I guess kind of being able to be in that little bubble there will really, really help and kind of benefit those early days, particularly. Similarly, from My Chemical Romance, a nice quick one, but great. Mikey from My Chemical Romance, the bassist Mikey Way, great guy. He says he's always meant to ask you this, but he just wants to know what your favorite New Jersey diner is. I take it he must have several.
Yes, that's a very New Jersey thing. The Americana would have probably come to mind first. The Peter Pank diner, which is way before their time, which was one that, like, they would have had a 8x10 of us hanging on the wall in our formative years because our parents would go there.
Amazing. That's nice. That's a nice moment.
It's like that.
Special.
Yeah,
very, very cool to see things like that. All right, next one is from a man called Sean Smith. He's in a band called The Blackout over here. He wanted to know...
Well, basically, in our hometown, Merthyr Tydfil, there's a guy that we know who claims he's been writing a musical based around Tommy and Gina.
Wow.
Has Jon ever thought of doing anything around
I
that?
love that question.
I have been approached many, many times, for the jukebox musical featuring all of our material. And, they've come to me 100 times with the Living on a Prayer, the musical, and you go, great. But I think that there's 3 formats, and they've all really been done. You do Mamma Mia, and it's a fictional story.
Sure.
You do Jersey Boys, and it's a story that's been told 100 times by every rock band ever.
Right.
Or you do Rock of Ages, and it's you and all of your friends' songs.
Right.
So none of which really have appealed to me over the years. I'd rather do something completely original like David did, which would be to write Memphis or to write Diana.
Yeah.
Remember, David is an accomplished West End or
Of course.
Broadway
Memphis around here for ages.
composer, and an award-winning composer. So I admire more what David did, going out on a limb, than trying to take advantage of our catalog.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to get a question from Sean in particular, actually, is because he recorded a cover of Wanted Dead or Alive years ago, but they did it at Download Festival, which, of course, is at Donington, a place I know you're very familiar with from back in the day. It's such a special location, so much history over here for this country. I just love, do you have any memories of those kind of Monsters of Rock days? And
Let me tell you one.
Okay.
It's 1985.
Right.
We come over here to play a big festival for the first time. And in 84, we had supported KISS. I don't think we did any festivals, but 85, it's Donington. We're next to the bottom of the bill. The band Rat, who we were supporting in America, was underneath us. And so we go to watch them play, and someone throws a pig's head onto the stage.
Wow.
Now, wait a minute. As if that isn't crazy enough, how about this guy has to wake up in the morning, say, you know what? I have a great idea. I'm going to take this pig's head, put it in a bag, carry it in line, run to get to the front of the stage just to throw it at the band Rat.
Wow.
Because I remember all the bottles filled with, lemonade.
Slightly less of that these days, thank God. But yeah, that was for a long
mud
time,
balls, the lemonade-colored Lucozade bottles being tossed at this thing. That was all part of the ritual of what Donington was in those days.
No, it's
lots of memories.
Oh yeah, just so much history. That place is just so. I mean, I hope one day I'd love to see you back there. Hopefully,
I want to meet the guy with the pig's head.
Yeah, I know. What's he doing now? Where's he ended up? That's crazy. Next question is from Justin Hawkins from the band The Darkness.
Oh,
amazing band. Love that band. He's wanting to know, what do you consider to be like the best ever kind of movie soundtrack song? Because he very much believes Blaze of Glory is the best one ever.
Wow.
So yeah, what kind of ones have always stuck out to you as being particularly impressive?
Songs written specifically for a film. Whew, boy, you're putting me on the spot. I'm just trying to think of ones that beat me in other movies. Skyfall, when Adele beat me in that movie.
Wow.
But I didn't agree with the song that beat Blaze of Glory, which was Stephen Sondheim, and that's why.
I mean,
so it was Stephen Sondheim. Bruce won an Academy Award for Streets of Philadelphia. That was pretty great. My goodness, you're putting me on the spot.
I mean, that's a great choice right there.
Okay, I'll take that one. I'm gonna pay kudos to my friend. Yeah.
Well, I definitely watch it because there's a wonderful moment at the beginning of the documentary, which I'm sure many people have checked out at this point, where you're just kind of going through tapes, these old tapes, and I just love how nonchalantly you're kind of throwing away these bits of history. It's like, that's a version of Runaway Before We're Banned. I'll just put that to the side. This is that one that almost made a Tom Cruise movie. All this stuff. I mean, it's just so fascinating for fans to sit there and watch it. Like, I'm sure they'd love to hear all this. I'm sure it's rough and it's demos, but have you ever considered maybe releasing some of that stuff?
Yeah. Part of the archiving was that we really uncovered 30 or 40 songs that no one's ever heard. Because you got to realize that we always wrote and or demoed 30 at a minimum in order to get 10.
Right.
So they're not going to be, some of them did, surprise us, but generally speaking, they deserve to be on the, recovery pile. So now, with the album coming, I would say at the end of the project, we'll get around to releasing some kind of a either playlist on streamers or a box set or something.
Some kind of rarities thing. Yeah, that'd be cool to hear. No, definitely be a part of the process as well. It'd be really, really interesting. This next one is from Chrissy Costanzo, who fronts the band Against the Current, again, New Jersey native. She just wants to know what album you're kind of most proud of over the years. Is there any particular one? Are you one of these guys where obviously you're always going to be pushing for the new material? I'm sure you're very, very proud of this new record, but is there any that particularly stand out to you in the discography?
You know, when you record an album and you present it to the world at that time in your life, you think it's the best work you've ever done, or else you wouldn't have released it. It takes me a couple of years to then look back on any record and see if I still have that tie to it. And some more than others. Some were emotionally, you know, that I'm tied to forever. But at the time, each one is your favorite.
No, of course. That's definitely the best way to be with it. The reason I wanted to get a question from Chrissy as well is her first 2 concerts ever, when she was 10 years old and 11 years old, Bon Jovi.
I was 10 years old and then 11 years old. I made an album of printouts of every lyric that was in of every song he's ever made, and then I starred the ones that were in the set list because I looked it up on like whatever that setlist.fm thing was ahead of time. It was me and all the moms, and it would live my best life. I love Bon Jovi.
And it just struck me as well that when people go to one of your concerts now, it's not just the kids who grew up with you and now adults. Like, it does seem like these younger generations do keep finding your music in all kind of new ways. That's got to be so, so lovely and so gratifying to see that it keeps on going in this way.
So unbelievable. We could have never in our wildest dreams have thought about second and now third generations of people coming to hear these songs 40 years down the line.
Amazing.
You know, even when we started, and I've been asked this question a lot, so it's making more and more sense to me. When we started in 1984, there hadn't been any rock bands that had a 40-year career to that point.
Course, yeah.
You know, even the Rolling Stones were 20 years old.
Yeah.
You know, the Beatles had broken up. So you were like, okay, well, there was no more Led Zeppelin. There was, you know. So nowadays, the next generation can go, yes, AC/DC's been around 50 years, and the E Street Band, and, you know, and the Rolling Stones, of course, and even Paul McCartney's out there still working on a brand new album at 82 years old. So you do have people to look at and see about the generations of fans.
Yeah.
But at our beginnings, we didn't have that.
Yeah. What a gift to have that now, though. Incredible.
I think it is
So
helpful
amazing.
for the next generation to see what you can do right and what goes wrong.
Right, sure. No, definitely. Great to be able to just keep discovering these things through all these different ways.
Yeah.
Next up from Lzzy, Hale from the band
right
Halestorm.
on.
She's the best.
She should
great.
please join Skid Row. Please, Lzzy Hale, join Skid Row.
There you go. That's the message. That's all the message we
Put
need.
the 2 bands together if you need to, but
Yeah, fingers crossed.
this
She's
is
been
the
doing
best thing that happened to Snake since he met me.
She has been doing a phenomenal job, I gotta say. She's so great. Well, first of all, she's very complimentary and said that, you know, she would not be the songwriter or rock star she is today without your influence. So that's
Wow.
very, very appreciative. But she would like to, I found this so interesting. She wants to know, in between your kind of early breakout success and then obviously various resurgences of that success all through your career, how do you keep that magic alive as you go? How do you keep pushing on with that magic as you go?
I think you have to be a fan.
Right, sure.
Right? You have to be a fan first. You always have to want to push yourself. You know, every day I get up and I just try to write a better song, and I push myself. I'm not ready to, you know, rest on the greatest hits volume 6. It's just, I have a desire to make a new record that's as good as our biggest records.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's definitely the attitude to have. On a similar kind of note as well, just talking about kind of challenges with this stuff, from the band The Dirty Nil, Luke's the front man there. Again, they've definitely taken a lot of influence from you guys over the years. He wanted to ask about vocal maintenance because obviously you've been very, very open and honest about struggles there.
Yeah.
I'm definitely curious as well, like now that you're on, you know, kind of on the mend and you're approaching a different way, has the warm-up changed drastically? Like what kind of, on a practical level, really changed?
Okay, practical level, all surgery stuff aside, no.
Okay.
No, it hasn't. I'm as diligent as I ever was. Maybe if I was guilty of anything in the latter years in a desire to fix something that I couldn't figure out or fix, I overdid the working on it. Okay. I realize in retrospect, you know, one of the many mistakes I made was I was probably doing, at a minimum, 2.5 hours of vocalizing before those 15 shows on that run, in an attempt to just like, I could fix it if I just do a little, if I It was just too much. I tried everything till the surgery. So now it's 2 years, almost 2 years behind me, and I'm feeling pretty good. You know, as I woke up this morning, I was like, I remember when we'd get in the car right out the back door and drive into the park. I need to drive into the park again.
Nice, man. That was so good to hear. And also, I mean, like I say, you really opened up about that aspect of the last few years in the documentary. And I think one of the reasons that it is engaging and it is very entertaining in that way is that level of honesty. It is kind of warts and all in a lot of ways. Was that always your approach going into a project like that, or was that just kind of how it came out?
You know, in truth, we have always been that open and honest. We just never had a platform to present it on.
Yeah, fair enough.
We'd always been that way with each other and or anyone who would listen, but never had the platform.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So it definitely makes for a more engaging viewing that way. Final question from you, again, from another friend of yours, Mr. Brian Fallon from the Gaslight Anthem, who we all love.
My brother.
Amazing man. So he's getting specific here. He says, starting from Keep the Faith and later albums, what would you say are your top 5 personal favorite Bon Jovi songs? He's picked 2 for you if you want some help.
I'll take his suggestions and go from there.
His suggestions, he's gone for Always, and he's gone for the Queen of New Orleans.
Very diverse. Look at that. That's Fallon for you. I love that guy.
Oh, he's the best.
He's a great songwriter.
Oh, absolutely phenomenal.
And a great guy.
So
and
great
a
to
good
have that
friend.
band back as well, actually. So great to see the Gaslight Anthem doing
It's
stuff.
good to see him doing that, although I loved his last solo album.
Very true.
Too.
Very true.
5 songs. Again, how can you?
How can you?
You know, there would be songs on 2020 that just never got the light of day, but American Reckoning, I think, is one of the best things I've ever written.
Okay.
That'd be on the top of my head. Dry County, because of the long form that it was, and I could see the movie in that. Always, you know, was sitting on my shelf, and I thank John Kalodner every day for taking it off the shelf and saying that that's a hit song. Good for me, good for him. Thank you to him for that. You know, I get very happy in my bones when I hear Legendary, and I know it's like sounds like I'm pushing a new record, but I'm in a place in my life now when I hear that lyric, I'm happy. And it's good to be happy again.
Yeah, that's so lovely to hear. And seeing the connection that even those early singles from the record have already had with your fans, that's got to be so gratifying.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, amazing.
62 years old and hit records. I love it.
Can't complain at that. John, it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Great to have you back in the UK. And yeah, hopefully, you know, just all the best success with the documentary and the album as well. All right.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Jon Bon Jovi.